Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. I'm Aisha, your host. A major wildfire in Fort McMurray, Alberta, forced the evacuation of over 80,000 residents. Large areas of the town were completely destroyed and are now unrecognizable. Watching all of the destruction and loss, one can't help but wonder why God would allow something like this to happen. Has the community done enough, or should we be doing more? Let's sit down with Dr. Shabir Ally to hear his thoughts. Welcome to the show, Dr. Shabir.
Pleasure to be on.
So the fires in Fort McMurray have been, very devastating and caused a lot of havoc in the community. Why would God allow for something like this to happen?
It's an interesting question. If we have the idea that God is like micromanaging, handling everything, all of the finer details, pulling all of the strings, then of course the question becomes even more relevant. Why did God pull this string as opposed to some other? But if God does two things, one is that He controls the system in a general way, and also reaches in to make minor adjustments when things really run out of control, then it makes sense to say that God has some involvement in this, and the question is more, yes, why does He allow it to happen, as opposed to like why does He directly cause this to happen? Well, God may allow certain ill effects to occur in His system for some good benefit. Never does He allow an evil that is so absolutely evil that does not give rise to any good result in the long run. So that even the evil that He allows eventually plays up into His plan, so that the ultimate good results.
So what would you say to someone in this kind of a situation where homes are destroyed, families are destroyed, nature is destroyed? I mean, the pictures are pretty devastating. So what?
Yeah, nothing we want to say here should be taken as a reduction of sympathy for those who are suffering and those who have suffered as a result of these fires. But if we are to understand the grand scheme and not be overburdened with all of this terrible suffering, then we need to see the silver lining behind the dark cloud. And by seeing that God is in control of all of this and that He allows this for some good reasons, that gives us some comfort and some hope that our future is not terrible, and we will not all suddenly be engulfed by some uncontrollable disaster, whether by destruction by fire or by some other means, and that in the end, what really matters is the life hereafter, and being and living with God forever under His mercy and basking in the glow of His love. This is the ultimate reality, and that this life is only a passing phase. So all of these notions have to come into play.
I really like the point that you talked about, the idea of a silver lining. Do you think, there have been some very positive stories about, communities coming together and helping residents of Fort McMurray, but do you think as a community, are we doing enough?
Well, I want to add here that this is one of the good things that come out of a situation like this. When disaster strikes, the charitableness of people come to the fore. And I'd just like to mention a few things before answering are we doing enough? Mm-hmm. Well, a few good things that we have noticed is that people have really rallied to the call. By May 9th of this year, the Red Cross had received some $64 million in donations, or $54 million, the exact figure now escapes me. But it's a large amount of donations, and of course the Government of Canada has promised to match that sum. So a lot of aid is pouring in for the victims of this. And we have seen that other countries have been offering their help as well. Mexico, the United States, Australia, Israel, the Palestinian Authority, Taiwan, Russia.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, and in fact our government has declined these offers on the grounds that we have enough resources here within Canada to deal with this. Quebec has sent some of their machinery to drop water bombs. Ontario has pitched in with some of its forces. The national defense in Canada, has done its share. So there's been a lot of help from that level of infrastructure. And then from individuals, some of the stories are quite interesting and moving. We know that the Ottawa-Gatineau Muslim community, some 12 mosques altogether, have contributed some $64,000 to the Red Cross as a donation. In Calgary, a number of Islamic associations, including the Islamic Supreme Council of Canada, have gathered some of their personal forces and moved. They have driven over to Alberta. Well, they are in Alberta, but they have driven over to the Fort McMurray area to assist at a personal level. From Brampton, all the way from Brampton, it's a very long drive to Alberta, but 7 men of the Sikh faith with their colorful turbans, together with one person from Hamilton, drove all the way there to carry medical and food supplies in a U-Haul vehicle.
Definitely more than a silver lining here.
Well, yes. So all of this shows the great spirit of humanity that is there. It is latent, and a disaster like this brings that forth. And so this is one of the good things that we see as a result of all of this darkness. There is this light that shines.
But do we need to continue doing more, or do you think?
Well, absolutely, we need to continue doing more. I would encourage all of our viewers to do the least that we can do is to donate some of our hard-earned money to help those who are suffering from this situation. Something like this could strike any one of us and at any time, and we should never feel too secure. It's one of the lessons that we learn from this and from the sacred scriptures in the Bible and in the Quran. We learn that God has many tools in his arsenal. And if he wants to strike people, maybe sometimes as a reminder, perhaps people get too complacent with modern life and they think that, okay, we get everything made, we don't need God anymore. We're in full control of our affairs. Of course, in this situation, we have seen the amount of level of control we have achieved, because the fires start and we can quickly evacuate people so that nobody actually died from the fires. But, a few people, 2 or 3 maybe, died in the mayhem that followed as people were leaving the scene in their vehicles. But the fact that we have so much control, this is a good thing, and that shows the achievement that humans have reached in terms of our science, our technology, our knowledge of how to govern our affairs and save ourselves from such disasters. But in the end, we still have to rely on God, because we realize, as a result of such a beast suddenly flaring up, that we are not in total control, and God is in total control. And both the Bible and the Quran shows that God may strike people with a variety of things, including fire, lightning. The Bible shows that certain people were visited with fire and brimstone. That's in the book of Genesis in chapter 18. And we know from the Quran that the Thamud people were struck with some overburdening calamity. Some interpreters say that this was lightning. And we know lightning to be one of the possible causes of wildfires. So some things I mentioned in brief, but there could be a whole new reality behind it.
So what about, obviously it's really important to rely on God. In times like these, we're often reminded of the importance of prayer. And I know in Fort McMurray, I've heard of, people doing a rain prayer. What is that? And is that a special kind of prayer, or?
Yeah, in the Islamic tradition, the prayer for rain is directed to God. The idea being that God is in full control of all of the cosmos and all of the weather systems. So if we want rain, we do what we can to change our situation, but one of the things we can do is pray to God and ask Him to help us in such a situation. What is reported in the Islamic tradition is that the Prophet, peace be upon him, in a time of drought, gathered people together, he prayed, and then after praying the usual prayer as we may do on the day of our Eid festival, he turned his garment inside out, thus reversing the whole thing so that the right becomes the left. That may have been a way of drawing divine sympathy, to say, look at our condition. Instead of looking at us in fine clothing, here we've got like the inside, which we don't normally show. Oh my God, I just showed it.
Yeah.
The
It was nice.
the inside, which we don't show, and which doesn't look so good, this is now on the outside, as if to say, please God, look at us. Here we are humbly beseeching your help. Look at our terrible condition, and have mercy on us. So that's the idea of the rain prayer. So when we hear that some Muslims gathered in front of the Alberta legislature to offer such a prayer, this reminds us of the Islamic tradition and the practice that is reported about our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
A very informative discussion as always. Thank you very much, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Hey YouTube, we hope you benefited from this video. If you liked it, or if you didn't, let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more, check out some of our other videos. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.